Hello.
Hey.
Yes, hi.
Hi,
yes.
How are you?
I'm fine. How about you?
I'm great, thank you. Great to be here. And how about Coach Emmanuel? How are you?
Hello.
Oh, hi. Hi, Carl.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Are you also one of the coach?
Oh, yeah.
That's great. I didn't know that. I mean, I know you're a teacher, but that's even better. So in fact, the part of the conversation today will be including the teachers and the coaches, because we have to work together. So that is great. I'm glad you're here. Good to see you.
Me too.
Yes. Okay. So I know they wanted to start with the video. So now I'm gonna start. We're gonna start the pediatric training today, and we're gonna start with the magnet video, just to show you guys they've done quite a bit on the organization, and I give you kudos for everything you guys have been doing and practicing. So,
Jamani, mleta hadi kwenye sabini ili tumpe.
Mine has a glitch. And the end.
yes, the end. Okay, can everybody see me now?
Why were people looking at me?
Yes, we're gonna see each other. Everybody's gonna see each other, okay? So I know we just saw the video. That was an excellent video from your organization, and it shows you how hard you work. It's gonna result to a very exciting season, exciting workout, and so a lot of people are doing very well. So kudos to the coaches and the leadership on the organization. You guys are working very hard. So before we start with the rest of the program, right now, can everybody see me now? Okay. So we are going to start with the prayers, and I was told that there was a one child is going to pray for us, and then there's another child, I think his name is Leith, is going to also pray in Muslim. So let's start with somebody who's going to say a prayer from the Christian side. Who was going to do that? Oh, Christian, okay. Okay, go ahead.
Mandaloni.
Where is Christian?
Vivi, sir.
I'm here.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay. In the name of the Father, Son, Holy Spirit. Amen. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord, for this day. Protect us throughout this coronavirus. Please, no one gets hurt or sick, and everyone stays well. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Where is Liv? Yes. Okay, go ahead. Thank you. Go ahead.
الفاتحة. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين آمين.
Amen. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so everybody can see my screen, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay, so it was decided by the organization. The reason we decided to do this conference is because your magnet organization and the QHSC wanted to make sure we address the issues that you are going to face when you go back to school or go back to do the exercise. So this is like a global outreach for you guys. And so you can see I always put the whole world there. It's different areas. And sometimes we do from different countries, we involve them in activities like this. So as I said, my organization, QHSC, is Quality Healthcare Solution and Consulting in the global health community, which is, we try to include children today. So we know you guys, if we take care of you guys today, and we're gonna have a healthy tomorrow. So disclaimer means like I don't have any conflict of interest with this meeting, so I come and present my opinion or my experience for what I've been doing as a professor in one of the universities, and I teach pediatric courses which cover 2 days old up to 19 years old. So when they ask me to come and join or collaborate with your organization to try and give you education about health and nutrition and like provide guidance for activities, so I'll be happy to accept that offer.
Okay.
And then therefore right now to do this exercise, you're gonna get sick when you get older. Some of the things that you might be able to, you might get sick from if you don't do exercise, is to have the chronic disease like high blood pressure or diabetes. And those gonna interfere with how your life is gonna be. So the goal today, we wanna make sure you guys get that knowledge to be able to learn, to be able to do the work. So I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions, and on your phone, if you can answer those questions, that'll be great. Make sure I know how many people are in here and how old are they. So the question is asking how old. If you're less than 10, select that line. If you are between 10 and 13, select that line. And if you are 14 to 16, select that line. And if you're above 16, select that one. And then when you finish, you go to the next question, which is asking,
Less than 1 hour.
Yeah, so if you're doing exercise less than 1 hour as of now, like from yesterday, how much exercise did you do? Did you do less than 1 hour for the whole day? Or did you do from 1 to 3 hours? Even if maybe you did half an hour in the morning, half an hour in the afternoon, and then 2 hours in the evening, that's fine, just select that. And then the last one is how much do you know, how much calories? Calories means like the amount of food you eat in a day, and then we count in how much energy you get from that food. So
I don't understand.
That's okay. If you don't understand, just either skip that question or just select the next one, okay? It's okay. I'll explain to you later what this means. And then
I can.
you're done? Okay, so did you submit?
Done, yes.
Yes, miss. I did submit it.
We're
Okay,
done.
so
I'm done. I
Sonny,
submitted it.
I have
I
one
submitted it.
people to finish. So keep going. I'm waiting for 20 more. So submit them. And once everybody submits, then it's gonna tell me, okay?
To do when I don't understand nothing. Oh, no.
That's okay. I will explain to you what you need to, what that means. I'm asking like what do you need to do when you're doing exercise? Do you want to just take a rest in between without doing that much, or do you want to make sure you're drinking enough? Or
Best way of exercise.
okay, so I'll give you 30 seconds more. Okay, 15 more seconds and then we'll be done.
Madam.
We have 3/4 of people already submitted. So make sure when you answer the question, go all the way to the bottom and then click submit.
My little sister was disturbed.
At night.
Okay, then tell your
My
sister.
little sister.
Yes. Okay, just 10 more seconds and then we'll be done, okay? Submit the answer, because I know you guys I see the answers there, but submit so
Yes.
I can close it.
I already submit.
Okay, if you're done, thank you very much. Yeah, let me wait for people who have not submitted, okay?
Did you submit? Yes.
Okay, there's only
I'm just waiting.
5 more people have not submitted. Okay, 10 more seconds. We're done.
I'm just gonna do this.
I'm not seeing mine.
Okay, so do you see my screen there? Okay, so right now it looks like there's a lot of you are 10 to 13 years old, like 67% do at least 1 to 3 hours.
Naangalia. Naangalia sana yupo.
At least half of you, we've seen there's a lot of you who are doing exercise at least 1 to 3 hours. That's great. And then there's a lot of you are between 10 and 13 years old, and then few of you are 16 and 14 and 15. So majority of you guys are still that 10 to 15 years old, which is great, and that's the goal of meeting today. Because if you have, if you're that age, you're very active, and so you always need to have enough calories in your body to be able to be active, okay? You know, right now you stop going to school or do practice because of the COVID. And then so we want to understand what exactly do you know about COVID? You tell me what do you know about COVID? What is COVID? So now I want you guys to answer one at a time. You have to raise your hand, I will select you, and then you answer that question. We want to hear what people say.
You have just here.
So Enoch, what is COVID? COVID-19.
COVID-19 is a disease, is a virus which causes SARS.
Okay. So why did we stay home from COVID-19?
What is COVID-19?
Reduce contact.
So to avoid to get infected. Okay, knows what it is? Who is Nick? Who is Nick?
It's me. Yeah.
Okay, can you tell me what is COVID-19?
COVID-19 is a dangerous virus that affects your lungs.
Okay, very good. So how do we protect ourselves from COVID-19?
Washing your hands plenty of times and with clean water or sanitizer.
Very good. So why did we stay home from school?
To avoid getting contamination from other people who have coronavirus.
Okay, so can your brothers or sisters or family member have COVID-19 in your own home?
Somehow, because it depends if your siblings go outside.
Okay, so what happens if your parents have to go? Somebody else can answer that. What happens if your parents have to go to work, even if with this COVID-19? Can they get sick also?
Yep.
Yeah, yes, that's true. So how do they protect themselves so they don't get sick? Or how do you protect yourself?
Wearing a mask.
A mask and sanitizer.
Okay, so
By wearing the mask and put on sanitizer.
Okay, so what does the mask do? If I wear a mask, what does it do?
It prevents us from getting the corona because it's airborne. So if you wear the mask, it helps you.
It helps you to do what?
Coronavirus.
Avoids the chemicals from the COVID-19 to enter.
It helps to not get. When someone coughs at you, you should wear the mask.
Thank you. That's what I was waiting for. So yeah, if somebody's wearing a mask and they're coughing, that will help so you don't get that little wetness, like mate. So when you wear a mask, that is going to hold for that person who is sick. So when they cough, you're not going to get crossback. And also you can wear those cloth masks. I mean, you buy it from the store or you get it from your parents. They make it for you. Those cloth masks help you so you don't touch your face. And if your hands are dirty, you don't touch your face to put in your hand, in your nose or eyes or mouth. If you have to wear them to go outside, then wear them, so because that will help you to protect yourself and protect your family too.
Thumbs up.
And continue washing your hands. So that part we know. So now we are going back to school. If when they announce that you're going back to school, or you're going back to the training, which is going to be a group of people working together. So how are you going to protect yourself so you don't get sick? Remember, if you're sick,
You should stay a meter away and wear your mask.
Don't be close to other people with no reasons.
Exactly. So what is it called? If you stay away from other people, what is it called?
Stay away from people mean.
How to protect yourself from
Do we know what is called social distance? Thank you. Yeah. Who said social distance?
Me, Richard.
Okay. Thank you, Richard. That's important because when you start going to all these groups and doing exercise or you go to school, you have to maintain that social distance. So if somebody is sick or coughing or anything close by, just move away and stay away from them. And that does not mean that you don't like them. That means that you don't want to get sick. Because getting sick, right? Yes, getting sick is not fun. So at least we have those ideas. So do we have any questions about COVID-19 or things that you need to do? Because you guys like you answered all those questions. Do we have any questions about that?
Me no.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now let somebody else. Anybody has a question?
Me.
No? Any question about COVID-19? Or what to do when you go back to school or when you go back to practice? Everybody knows what they need to do, right?
Because maybe a question. I don't understand.
It's okay. If you don't have a question now, you can ask them later. But one last thing. So now we know we need to wash our hands with a soap. You clean for 20 seconds, right? And make sure, yeah, we know between our fingers, between our thumbs, you know, scrub, make that your big foam for 20 seconds. And you happy birthday twice, right? So if you sing happy birthday twice, yeah, you can sing happy birthday to me, happy birthday to me, until we finish and then you sing it again. So that is gonna be enough. When you rinse your hands, make sure the water is running so you can rinse it out. And then so when you finish with your hands, what do I need to do with my wet hands? What should I do with my wet hands?
You have to wipe them with dry cloth or
a really clean towel.
With dry clothes.
So most of the time, what happens if you don't have a dry towels?
Use a towel?
No, the problem of using the towel.
Handkerchief.
Okay, now guys listen. If I use the towel, my hands are gonna be wet. So I'm gonna keep that towel wet. So that you don't wanna do that. If your hands are wet, either you can shake it out or use the paper towels. If you have the paper towels or sanitary papers, you wipe it.
Okay.
And then so you can do it and throw it away. But you don't need to use the regular towels because it's gonna get wet and everybody's gonna touch it. And if their hands are dirty, you're gonna get it. So those are things that you need to understand. Now your hands are clean, shake it out, extra water, and it's gonna dry because thank God in Dar es Salaam it's nice and warm all the time, and so your hands are gonna be dry. So that is just a review for COVID. Like I hope you guys will focus so you don't get sick. And if you see someone is sick and anything else, don't touch their hands.
I want to say that I have a question.
Yes.
Even though if you like do just if we follow your method, some droplets of water can enter to some other people's body and can get some contamination. You never know.
I mean, the mode of transmission, I mean, it's known that if you touch your face or your eyes or your mouth, you're gonna get sick.
How long does corona stay in your body?
As long as your body can fight it. So that's the next part which is gonna get.
How long does corona stay in your body?
Doesn't coronavirus stay for 12 hours?
No, I mean that was the discussion that if on the surface outside, like if I have it and sneeze it out or cough it out, it can stay there as long as you can because it depends on the humidity.
It depends how cold or warm it is, the temperature.
You ask one question at a time, and then I answer, and then the next person asks. So I'm gonna answer the person who asked how long the corona stays in your body. And that's the part I was saying, part of our discussion today, that if your body is healthy enough to fight the infection, so your corona virus is not going to stay that long in your body because your body has the little soldiers who will fight this infection and get you well. However, if you are not healthy enough, you are going to get sick, and corona is going to stay as long as your body is going to allow them to do that.
I am.
Okay.
People say that if you have strong immunity, then you can survive because it depends. If you have vitamin C in your body, then that also helps.
Who answered that? That's an excellent explanation. Who was that?
Me.
Yeah, but is your name me? Tell me your name.
Lynette.
Lynette. Yes, thank you very much, Lynette. That is an excellent answer because that's what we are here for, to talk about being healthy and what should we eat or what should we do to help staying healthy. So yes, the coronavirus is going to stay in your body when you get it. So we're doing things to prevent getting it. Unfortunately, when you get it, it's going to depend on how ready your body is or how healthy your body is or how much immunity you have in your body. So immunity is the little soldiers, as I said before, is trying to prevent or kill this little foreign virus that comes to your body. So if you eat healthy, you do exercise and you stay healthy, and you eat food that support your immunity, which is vitamin C. We already discussed that, but there's a lot of discussion that is zinc. So food like, you know, those pumpkin seeds, mbegu za maboga, you know, if you eat those things, will help you. People are talking about ginger. People are talking about garlic or vitunguu saumu. All those things, if you eat, it helps build up your immunity. And as I said, that's the next part we're going to discuss, is what type of food you should eat.
Orange.
And then, yeah, so any fruits, I mean, you can get vitamin C for all the fresh fruits. And so if fresh fruits, you get them, you eat, then you're going to get more vitamin C. So you have to be healthy, first of all. You have to do some exercise. You cannot just sit idle and think that you're going to be healthy. No. And then you have to eat the right things, the right food. And that is going to build your immunity. So just in case you end up getting the virus, then your body is going to fight it. And then so if you don't do that, then you're going to get sick. When you get those viruses, you're going to get sick. And unfortunately, a lot of adults have passed on because they have the other condition. They're already sick with something else. So when they get the virus, their body is not strong enough to fight it. And then they end up dying. So that is just part of the discussion. And there's a lot of questions, a lot of information that comes out there. And sometimes it can be overwhelming. But for you, I will encourage you just knowing that to stay healthy, continue to exercise, and stay hydrated, and stop touching each other and playing around like that, because you're going to invite all those infections. Not only coronavirus, on the flu season also is going to come, and that also is the same, another type of virus which is going to be transmitted exactly the same way. And the way to prevent that is still washing your hands. So washing your hands is always gold standard of prevention of diseases. So you go to the bathroom, wash your hands after you come to the bathroom. You touch anything else, your shoes, anything else, before you eat, wash your hands. And before you touch your face or anything else, wash your hands. And I mean, all those things before we rinse the food and make sure the food is clean. So when you do all those things, you can cut a lot of diseases out of and then keep yourself healthy. Okay? So that's good. So then now let's go to the next part now of okay, so we finished that. Okay, so now we're planning to go back to school. As I said, it depends on what the government is going to say when you're going. So we're going to start doing some exercises. You have been doing exercise at home, which is fine, and that will keep you healthy until you get to do in a group. So when you go back in the group, always we know that we do exercise in groups. You will follow the coach's guidance, and the coach will know that you need to do a certain exercise to try and build up your strength and flexibility, endurance, and then speed. So all those things, your coach knows those things. I don't need to repeat that, but so they know what exactly you need to do, at what level, and when do you need to do those exercises. Your responsibility as a player, you have to stay healthy. So the coach is not going to teach somebody who is sick. The coach is not going to teach somebody else who doesn't want to be there. So your attitude of being there will help the coach to teach you or to train you, and then you can be the best you can. And then so when you get there, we ask you to do everything possible. You decide to show up on the exercise. As soon as you get there, it is your responsibility to stay active, dedicated, and then learn whatever you can to be able to do the best. Because when you show up, the coaches stop whatever they were doing, the parents stop whatever they were doing to bring you over there. And when you get there, you have to be responsible for your actions. That means you have to put in every single minute to be able to perform. You don't want to say, oh, so-and-so is always active more than me. No, just put your hours. It means like they ask you to jump, you go and jump. They ask you to run, go and run. They ask you to do push-up, go and do push-up. Don't start having the attitude there and disrupt the practice. But you have to be responsible for your practice so you can get coached, you can get trained to reach the goal. So I have a couple of videos here. I'm gonna show you. So when you start doing, you go back to training. So this is just an example. This is just called like an organized training. Means somebody is there to watch you, tell you what to do. So these are the organized training, organized practice. So when you get there, trainee, you have to be able to follow the rules and then follow the direction that they're trying, because you have specific guidelines that you need to do to be able to reach your best. So your responsibility as a trainee or a player.
Look at the gaps. Look at the gaps. Control the ball. Go. Yes, go.
Few things that we're going to discuss before you get there, you need to do. Okay, so for you to be healthy, you need 4 things. You need the amount of food you need to eat in order to make sure your body is growing, because you are at that age that you do need more calories. And then what type of food, we're gonna go over in a few minutes. And then training, so how much exercise should you do? That your coach is gonna help you, how much exercise you need to do to build those, as I said, building the stamina, building the endurance, doing the flexibility, and the cardiac. So all those things, the coaches are gonna help you with that part. The other part, which is say the dedication, this is the part that is on you. You have to be serious enough to be trained. You have to be serious enough to be coached. So as I said, you have to be ready to do training when you get there. And then the family support. So definitely if there's a scheduled exercise or routine, your family is gonna be involved. Maybe they have to get you there. So you have to be able to talk to your parents and organizing those things. You don't want to just leave it to say, oh, maybe today I don't want to go to the exercise. Maybe the parents now have left from work to come and pick you up to take you to the exercise, and then find that you don't want to go. So that part of communication, it has to be open, and you have to ask your, talk to your family member to organize that part so you don't miss any practice. Because there are some rules, I'm not sure about your organization, but there's some rules that if you don't practice, you should not even go to compete then, because you did not see the importance of practice. Why do you see the importance of competing on the final games or something like that? So there's some training or some organization, they will, if you don't go to practice, they're not going to put you on the games or competitive games. So then sometimes it creates conflict between, create a conflict between the family members, because and the children, because they think, okay, just because I'm paying, then I should put my kids to play. No, that is not the ethics of sportsmanship. If you put your time and effort in practicing, then yes, you should go and compete. Whether you are the best of the best or you are still developing, you should be able to do it. If you put like 110% of the practice and show up when you're supposed to and agree to be told when you're supposed to, versus that you don't want to go to practice just because you can pay and then you show up to the competition. The problem is you don't have that team playing. You don't know how your team members are playing, so how are you going to be able to be effectively to be competitive in that game? So that means your team is going to, or your organization is going to fail, because you bring people who are not dedicated or serious enough to do the work. So I have a little surprise before I told Ms. Jessica there. So I have one of a very talented, very competitive athlete. And right now he goes to a college, and he used to play soccer and basketball competitively. And so I'm gonna be including him on the conversation just to give you an idea how much exercise you need to do, how dedicated you should be, and you see how he starts for him to be the best of the best. Yes, I have the pictures for his basketball, but he did have also the soccer, and so he's a very well-versed athlete, and he can tell you what exactly it's involved, and we're all very proud of him, and you're gonna get to meet him shortly. And let me get him to just say hello. I know he's here somewhere. Mujuni?
Hi.
I'm Mujuni.
Come on.
All right. So he's gonna talk to you guys when we continue with this discussion. So then, okay, so before we get to food and what we need to eat, for you to be healthy, we recognize that you are at that age that your growth spurts or time that you're growing faster, and a lot of things are happening in your body without your control. That means you start seeing changes in your body, like some people will start getting deeper voice, or you get the beard or mustache, or you have all those things that are happening. For girls, physical changes, you're gonna see them. And then of course you menses, and those are biological time. You cannot control those things. So remember, the things that you cannot control, you don't need to stress about that. You need to embrace it and know that they're happening and ask for help. You have your coaches, you have your teachers, you have your parents. So all those three groups can work and help you, and you don't feel like awkward or like something is wrong with happening to you. So we understand that this is the period that developmental wise, you are seeking trust. You are looking for acceptance from peers. That means you want to please everybody. So remember, we're coming from COVID, no hugging, no anything else, so thinking that, okay, you have to be buddy friends and hugging and get each other sick. No, but you can respect each other and say hi from afar, which is fine. Developmental wise, you guys are asking for authorities. You're trying to develop that identity of, oh, I'm growing up, which is fine. It is right to a point. You are not supposed to disrespect the coaches or the parents because you think you're growing up. Remember, they have been there. They used to be teenagers like you guys. They used to be there. They grew up, so we don't need to have all those disrespectful or commotions. As I said, if you have questions, then yes, ask, and then they will give you the answers. As I said, the biological changes, yes, maybe you used to wear certain size of the jerseys. Now your body is outgrowing those things. Be respectful enough, get another size. We don't have to wait until the coach tells you or the teacher at school tells you. No, just respectful enough and then cover up and be responsible. So you don't want to show up for exercise while you don't have the gears. You don't have the jerseys to try and, all those things are required your attention to it, and make sure you address that part. For girls, it's going to be different. I know that I was told there's a couple of girls. For the boys also, between you guys, there will be changes. Not every boy is going to be the same. Not every 11-year-old is going to behave like 11-year-old. No, some 11-year-old is going to behave like 13-year-old, some 11-year-old is going to behave like 9-year-old. So it depends what your body is doing at that moment. Okay, so another area that we need to address is the food, and that's the reason we are here. So there is a lot of food that you can eat, and I know it's geographically going to be different. The pictures I used here that come from CDC. So CDC usually give guidance or recommendations for things that a certain age should eat and to be able to grow and be healthy at that age. So they focus this one from 6 to 19 years old. So it's just generic. You can substitute anything that you have. Let's say for caloric intake, we expect at least the child at that age, 6 to 19, to eat at between 1,400 to 3,200 kilocalories. Remember, I said that's an amount of food that you eat per day. And then so you can divide it. When they start saying 1,400 per day, means if somebody is not moving, doesn't do exercise, just stay there, they can have up to 1,400 kilocalories, and that divide by 3 times. So if you're eating breakfast, lunch, and dinner, you have to divide by 3. And then sometimes if you're athletic, like you guys right now here, you're very physically active. So those are things that you need to divide your food, different amounts for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or if we eat the snacks in between, that's gonna be included in there. And it depends on how much exercise they give you from your coach. They will know how much calories you're burning for that day and how much probably you should add to your food. And one way of knowing, maybe not necessarily you know the number of food, amount of the food you need to eat. we always just say, if you have a portion of food in your hand and find out, okay, you have a portion of vegetables, portion of fruits, portion of grains, and portion of daily food or portion of protein, that will be plenty of food in your plate. And then of course, the more you eat, then you see. If you are eating too much, more than what your body can handle, that means you're gonna start gaining weight. If you're eating less than your body needs, then you're gonna lose weight. So that is usually an easier way to know that, am I eating enough or am I not?
Joseph.
So do you guys know, do you guys know what will happen, for example, if you're not eating enough? Do you know? How do you know that you're not eating enough food?
If you lose weight.
Yeah, if you lose weight, what is another way that you know that you're losing weight and you're not eating enough? What other?
You'll be weak.
Thank you. Yes. Yes, you'll be so tired all the time. You can't run. So if the coach asks you run maybe twice in the field, you're gonna run once and then you don't have enough energy to complete that. And then that's not normal for you. So you know you're not eating enough. And then so if you are eating too much also, you may not be able to perform the way you're supposed to perform. So you're asked to run a little bit, then you get those bichomi. Do you know what is bichomi?
Stitches.
Yeah, when you run and then your stomach starts to hurt.
Thank you. Yes, you're gonna get those things. So if you eat too much, then you know. And that's why you need to know what exactly you're putting in your mouth to help you being physically fit. And so eating is gonna get you weak or tired. Eating too much is gonna be that. So now you have to find that balance. Like how much should I eat and it will be okay. And you will know because you will see how much exercise you are asked to do it and how much you should eat. I'm gonna ask Mujuni. Can you tell us, like just give us an idea, how did you know that this is enough for you or this is not enough for you? How did you know?
It depends on the day. I mean, well, as an athlete, you should have a consistent eating schedule, but some practices, they might run you into the ground. Some practices might be light. So it just kind of depends on, I mean, for me, it's my stomach. I can tell from my stomach if I'm hungry or not. But you can feel it as you run or like as you move around. You know, if you're lightheaded, then that probably means you're dehydrated. So you want to make sure you have enough water, whatever you drink to stay hydrated in practice. But normally for me, it always has been coming home or when you're done with practice. And like, how do you feel when you walk around? Like if you're home or if you go to work or however you spend time after practice. If you feel tired, that probably means you're hungry. I mean, obviously rest is involved too, but you know, like you just feel it in your stomach if you're hungry or not.
Okay, thank you. So do you guys have noticed that when you do exercise and you finish exercise, you're so tired, you're so thirsty? Have you noticed that, you guys?
Yeah.
Okay, so then at least now you know what exactly you need to do to be able to make sure when you're going to the exercise, you have enough in your stomach and hydrated. Because otherwise you're gonna get getting dizzy and then you're gonna pass out. So can one of the coach, I don't have you guys on my screen. Move on. For the kids, what do you guys, just give me an example. What do you do to prepare before you go to practice? What routine you do before you go to practice?
Eat 30 minutes before.
Okay, thank you. Who said that?
What?
Who said you eat 30 minutes before?
Me?
Just tell me your name, please.
Alvin.
Alvin, yes, thank you very much, Alvin. That is very important because you have to eat early enough so the food can be digested. And then when you get to exercise, then that food will help you to stay strong during the practice. So that was an excellent response. Yes, you have to eat at least half an hour before. 45 minutes to half an hour, yes. You don't want to eat while you're running to the game or running to the practice because you're going to get there. You're going to get those bichomi I was telling you, or stomach cramps because there's food in there needs to be digested. It can't because your body is busy letting you play. And so you're going to get sick. or start throwing up. And that exercise is not going to be the greatest that day because you won't be.
You should take some rest before the training or match. Take some rest.
Okay, so what is the rest to do?
After you rest, you get some energy to play in the field, because if you don't rest, you might get tired easily in the field. And
Exactly. So that is a great point. Yes. So you eat before, 30 minutes, 45 minutes before the practice starts. And then even some people eat an hour. It depends on how your body digests the food quickly. So you have to learn to pay attention to your body, how your body does. Then that will help you to, then that will prepare you to say, okay, I need to eat an hour, because some people maybe eat half an hour, the food just still stick there. It depends on what you are eating. If you eat pizza, that is loaded with fat, it's gonna take a long time to digest. I guarantee when you start running, you're gonna get those cramps, because that is a heavy food, you put it in your stomach. And then so most of the time they will encourage you to eat just very simple carbohydrates, vyakula vya wanga, like if you eat ugali, very simple, an hour before, 45 minutes ago, it's gonna be at least digested before you start running around, because that is just a simple carbohydrate. And then, but if you eat pizza, it's gonna sit there for 3-4 hours before it's digested. That's why if you've noticed, if you eat pizza, you wanna go and rest, because people say, oh, I enjoy the food because that's why I went to sleep. No, it's because the food is so heavy, your bodies have to work twice as hard to digest that part. So you can't be digest that food while you're running around. You can do both at the same time. So that's why you have to know what you need to eat before you go for practice. So thank you, Alice. Yes. Okay, so we
might get dehydrated.
Yes, that was my next thing. Thank you very much for whoever mentioned that hydration. So let's just go back for this type of food. So for vegetables, you can choose whatever you want under this, and it depends on what type of food you're gonna be able to afford to get. So a list of vegetables that you can add there is like, you can have greens. I always say greens because all the mchicha, spinach, like kale or broccoli, all those green stuff have a lot of lettuce. Thank you, lettuce. Yes, all this green stuff will have a lot of nutrients that you need for your body to grow.
That's my favorite greens.
Thank you. So even if you don't like the taste, just eat because your body needs it. It's not that you're eating just because of the fun of it. No, you're eating because your body needs. If you don't eat those things, you're gonna start you're feeling weak. Even if you are eating enough food, but if you're eating the wrong food, like you're avoiding one group, you're gonna get sick because you don't have enough for your body. We already talk about the fruits. The fruits, anything fresh fruits, then eat. You can find it. Yeah, in Tanzania, you guys are rich for all these natural fruits. You can eat anytime. So eat those fruits. And then for the grains, you can choose it. Some people will eat bread. That's fine. That's a processed food. That's okay. But eat the wheat bread, like brown bread, guys call it. You can eat that versus just a plain white bread. Because the white means, the more white it is, means that we've taken things out, nutritional oil, to make it white. But people usually eat the color of white versus the rich wheat bread. And for the wheat bread here, you can have even ugali or dona, that is a healthy one for athletic person, because if you eat that skin of the corn around it, that is the richest part of the food. And that has some protein in there and more nutrients to help you. So ugali or dona is the best thing to do. Or if you cannot eat the ugali, then you make uji, like a porridge. So that will help you.
How about millet ugali?
How about what?
Millet ugali.
You can eat ugali, right? Are you talking about ugali? Yeah, you can eat ugali. And then so for the daily food, like you need the calcium because your bones needs to grow. You are growing, you need the strong bones. Otherwise, you're gonna fall, or especially you're playing contact sport. It means like you guys are gonna bump into each other. You're gonna try to kick the ball and miss and kick somebody else's leg or body or anything else. We know you're not supposed to do that. However, those things happen. So if your bones are weak, you're gonna break those bones and then you'll be out of the sports. So you don't wanna do that. Take care of yourself. So if you cannot drink milk or you find things that we have calcium in there, So assembly, you know, maziwa assembly, I know you guys are young, but as parents, if they're in there, get maziwa assembly, give it to kids. Cheese, I mean, I know you can access cheese right now. Get some cheese, put in your bread or your food. That will help you because you do need that calcium to make sure that your body is strong. You do have sun. If you're playing outside, the sun in Tanzania, it's there. You don't have an issue with that, but just make sure you have to get some vitamin D, which you will get from those milk and stuff. Sometimes they add what they call fortified milk with the vitamin D to help absorb that, to put in your bone. So then you can strengthen your bone, because your exercise will make your bone stronger so it doesn't break easily. But if you don't do that, you're gonna see you're getting injured every single time the season starts. You're gonna get sick. You don't want to do that. So for protein, we have a lot of selection. You can have the eggs, you can have any type of meat, that's fine. Some people can afford, some people cannot. If you cannot afford just the meat, that's okay. You can get those like maharage, you know, beans. There's some beans, then yes, you have some protein in there. Karanga, you know, peanuts. You can eat peanuts. I mean, a lot of people can afford peanuts. So protein is there on the peanuts. Then put that peanut butter on your bread, or put a peanut butter on your vegetables. That will add some protein in there. You might have to eat a little bit more than to make sure you get the amount of protein needed for your body. Because also protein needs to strengthen your muscles, because remember you're exercising. That muscles have to be able to move you around. So it has to be strong enough to do that. The only way you can do it, you have to add food to it. So all these food that walnuts, you know, even nuts has protein in there. So you can have those, and it will help you strengthen your body. Okay, so let's look at this plate. Somebody was eating this breakfast. So from what I just told you, what kind of food does this person have on their plate? Can you tell me?
Bananas. Bread.
Okay, so what is the banana? Which group the banana is?
Vitamin.
Yeah, there's some vitamins in there. So that's put under the fruits. So you get the fruits. And then there's a lot of vitamins in the bananas too that you need for your muscle strength. And then you can see they have mayonnaise, or I don't know what you guys call it, zest, or I don't know if it's the brand name. Or,
this, can I be?
This person is eating here. We see the bread. We see the, what is this?
Banana.
Spaghetti.
No, spaghetti. Okay, and what is this one?
Pancake. Pancake.
So yes, so there's some real protein if you add, I mean, they add, it depends on what type of flour they use for the pancake. So it might be, so they might need some more protein in here, because a lot of these are carbohydrates. And so they might need some real protein. So if they added, for example, peanut butter instead of blueberry, that would be even better, because peanut butter will add more protein. Blueberry is fine, but blueberry is fat. So you need a little bit less fat in your diet, more protein. So if they use peanut butter on this bread, that would be an excellent solution. Still, this calorie-wise is fine for that. So a typical of diet, remember we said for your age group, they can eat 1,400 to 3,200. So that's the part which, this is just amount for 2,000 calories. So breakfast, you can have a banana. We already saw that gentleman was eating banana. You can see a bagel. Here on the bagel, you can have viazi vitamu, viazi vikuu, or you can have potatoes, that's fine. You can have cassava or yuca or mihogo. Anything that is carbohydrates, you can have that, but just add the peanut butter, because you need some protein in the morning. And then you can have tea. Tea will be better. If you don't have milk or tea, drink uji, which we have. And the uji, you can put all those, you know, peanuts in there. You can add lishe. They have more protein in there to help you. And then you can add some milk or yogurt if you have. That will give you some calcium in there. So you can substitute things, not necessarily, but it gives you an idea. So for a plate like this, you get almost like 800 calories for that amount, which is fine. That's in the morning. Remember, the 2,000 is for the whole day. So you divide it in different meals, how much you're gonna eat. So if it's 800 for breakfast, then lunch, you're gonna find out See, they have a bread, they have lettuce in there, they have tuna, you can have fish, you can have anything there to add with some protein. See, they have vitamin C, egg, for your eyes, they have some fruits, and they have milk. So all the things you can substitute for what you can, and then make sure you get to 2,000. So you guys tell me, what kind of, what do you eat for breakfast?
Meat.
What do you eat for breakfast? Guys, can you tell me what do you eat for breakfast?
I mostly cornflakes or bread and tea, brown bread.
Inside the cornflakes, what is in there? Other than just the cornflakes itself, what else is in there?
I eat Weetabix and milk.
Okay.
Or cornflakes. Pardon?
So if you have cornflakes and you have milk, that is great, but you need some protein in there. What else do you have in your cornflakes? So right now, if you have that, you can add nuts in there. Any nuts you have or you can access, you can put it in there to add some protein in there. So cornflakes by itself, it's good, but it's gonna wear down very quickly within an hour, 2 hours, because you move so much, it's gonna be gone. Protein should be in there to carry you over, and that's why you need to add some protein in your breakfast. So cornflakes is fine, but add something in there, in the cornflakes, like nuts, anything nuts, you know, pumpkin seeds, whatever, you know, like mbegu za maboga, or in the kalanga, you know, like peanuts. Add those things in your food to be able to make it last longer or help do some exercise. So that was good. Anybody else? What do you eat?
I
eat tea and bread.
I take a sandwich.
Okay, what is in there?
There's lettuce, there's tomato.
Okay.
Yeah.
What else?
I take bread. I
Chia
take
seeds.
Weetabix with bananas in there and milk.
Okay, so what can you add? So from what we discussed today, what can you add in your breakfast? That's a very healthy breakfast, I agree. What else can you add in there to make sure you add some protein?
Protein, you can add some eggs.
Yes, perfect. Eggs will be the best thing there, or any meat if you can afford meat, that's fine. Or any nuts. Remember I said any nuts. You can get a little bag of nuts and eat, because that will give you protein to last you the whole day until when you get to do practice. So that was a great and healthy breakfast. Very good, thank you. So I mean, you can see the examples, guys. You can monitor what you are eating to make sure it's in there. You don't need to eat meat all the time, but just find things that will give you some protein to add to the to your diet. Okay. Okay, so this is just a samples for what you guys you have back home. For vegetables, they give you more choices here. You know, you can have zucchinis, salads, you know, all the green vegetables, spinach and stuff. And then for red or orange vegetables, those are tomatoes like nyanya, put on the salad, that will be fine. Sweet potatoes, yes, they consider as vegetables, but majority of the time there is a lot of carbohydrates in there too, so that's fine. Squash, pumpkins, you know, maboga, that's fine. And then so beans, peas, you know, like chickpeas, all these soybeans, all those things are in vegetables, but also they might have some protein in there. So if you eat ugali kwa maharage is some protein in there and some carbohydrates in there. So that will help you to do. If you look at this plate here or the table here, you can see the rice, you can see the fruits, and you can see the greens, and you can see the fish there, and you can see, I think it's the stew there. So here, if you get a little bit from each bowl, then you're gonna have a balanced meal, and you have, the only thing is missing here is just water. So you need some food to help that digest that food and clean up your waste product. And the same thing here. If you need to pack in something like that, as I said, put in a plastic bag or plastic bag, take it with you to practice and you have it. Okay, so I'm gonna get my okay, so
Hello.
okay, so now at least we know some diet that we need to keep it up, and then so we need to go to the second part, the training part. So I'm gonna get Mujuni to help me here. Can you give me like a typical day, for example, when you wake up in the morning? I mean, how do you prepare that first of all after you wake up in the morning? And if let's say this is Saturday and you have practice that day, or you have a game, how do you prepare from breakfast, go to the game, and then come back? Things that you do either diet-wise or preparation exercise-wise until you finish that day. June, can you help me with that?
Yeah, so I'll wake up and I'll have breakfast. Well, it depends. See, normally I have breakfast, and if I had breakfast, I'll probably eat eggs, just something small, because I typically wake up. I don't wake up early. Like if my game's at 9 o'clock in the morning, I'll probably wake up maybe at 7, and so I need to eat something that's pretty small, but that'll digest before the game. And I'll eat that, and then if I go to the field, I'll stretch, because stretching is very important. Oh, okay.
You're okay now, yeah.
Where was it? So I'll eat eggs for breakfast, and then when I go to the game or for practice, I'll stretch before practice. I'm sure coaches probably point this out a lot, but if it's always important to stretch what you feel is tight. I mean, you should probably stretch the whole body, but after that, I think they give you maybe a couple minutes to stretch whatever else you need to stretch. I typically would stretch the leg because, when you're playing soccer, you don't want to pull like a hamstring, because hamstring cramps and pulling those are probably one of the worst pains you'll feel at playing soccer. And you'll play the game, and after the game, the most important thing is probably recovery. So once you get home, you want to rest, sleep. Whether you eat after you sleep or before you sleep is up to you. I typically would eat after I sleep. I just want to get the rest out of the way so I can wake up and I'll feel somewhat energized. But then when I eat, then I feel fully better after that. And you definitely want to stretch after the game too, because your body tightens up after you play for a certain period of time. Your muscles will then tighten up, because like when you rest and you slow down, everything starts to tighten up and squeeze. I'm sure some of you guys probably felt that before. When you sit down or after a long day of whatever you do, you just feel like your body's tightened up and you get a lot of stress. So you definitely want to stretch afterwards, and that, because it's really relaxing and it's good for your body.
Okay, thank you very much. So for the older ones who are in here, I think there was 3 or 4 people who were 15, 16, and 17. I think somebody said there's some 17 years old, which is great. Thank you for being here. Tell me, what have you been doing when you're going to compete? Like what Junior was explaining right now, what have you been doing as your normal practice? Anybody who is 15, 16, or 17? I want the older ones.
I'm 16.
Okay, thank you. Can you give me an example of your day?
Well, we don't play most of our games in the morning and stuff. We mostly play our games in the evening.
Okay.
So in the morning I eat normally my breakfast as normal. Then I eat like 2 hours before the game, because I want to be healthy enough or fit enough to be able to play the game later.
Okay.
And we mostly stretch. After that, we play the game. I eat after the game. I eat before I sleep.
Okay, that's good. And as I said, I mean, it's good to know your body. If you know your body, that some people will eat first and then go to sleep, and some people just want to sleep first and then eat. So you have to know your body. So it's not like one thing is going to work for everybody else, but still, that sequence of event has to be done. Like you wake up in the morning, get your breakfast, before your game, get what you need to eat. Half an hour to an hour before that, stretch. drink a lot of fluid, and then go to the game, practice, and do the best you can. And then after that, it depends on how your body is. Because some people, if they're so tired, they don't want to do eat immediately because either their stomach is hurting or anything else. Then take a rest, drink something and take a rest, and then go and eat. Or some people will be like, as soon as they finish eating, they have some, practice or the game, they want to eat right then and there. That is okay. If it works for you, that is okay. Kama kuna mtu anataka kuuliza swali na Kiswahili, that's okay. I will try to answer as much as I can. Kuna mtu ambaye anataka kuuliza swali Kiswahili, is okay. You can ask in Swahili.
I want to ask a question. I want to ask a question.
I'm waiting. Ask the question. What is the question?
What school does Mujuni goes to?
Oh, Mujuni is going to college right now. He's already finished all the secondary school. Now he's in college.
What? How years old is he?
I'm 18. I don't think I heard you. What did you say?
18 years old.
Why is that face blue?
What?
Which team do you play for?
What teams do I play for?
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm not playing in college right now because of the coronavirus, obviously. But when I was in high school and when I was in my younger ages, I played for my school, and then I had a club team, which is a group of schools combined around the area. That's who I played for.
And then, so remember I said in the beginning that he's a competitive sports. He plays competitive sports. That means like, yes, there's, you can play through the school. So you go to school, either is primary school or secondary school, you go to school and then play for that school team. Or you go to school and then come home and go to the club teams. The club team just combine kids from different schools or different cities. They come and join your team and compete. So he did both. And when he was doing in high school, he did both. And see, he's in New York. So everybody knows where New York is, right? You guys know your geography?
What is Mujuni?
Where New York is?
What is Mujuni's ambition?
Yes, we know.
Yeah. So I mean, in America, it's like almost like the way Dar es Salaam is to Tanzania. That's almost in New York is to America. It's like on the side of the country, like the right side of the country. The same thing, like almost in Dar es Salaam, the way it is, that location. So, but if you go back to school, you need to look at those maps and see where New York is.
We know where.
What is Mujuni's ambition?
What is Mujuni's?
Wait first.
Admission? What do you mean admission?
Your ambition.
Hi. They can't see you.
No, I don't understand the question. What is the admission?
I think it's trying to say ambition.
Now you can see me.
Oh, ambitions. Oh, we ask him later. Not right now. Later. Hold on a second. Okay, so let's go to that. I know you guys wants to talk to Mujuni, and I have the space at the end, so you guys can ask all these questions. Let me just finish. There's like 3 more slides, and then Mujuni is gonna talk because I knew you guys are gonna have a lot of questions to ask because he has been there. He has done competitively, and he was very, very successful and physically fit for that part, doing 2 sports. So let me finish up a couple of slides, and then I will put Mujuni up there. Okay, so for that exercise, that's why I wanted Mujuni to give us just a rundown of a typical day of competition, how he prepared for it. So to be healthy for you, you need to target 3 areas. Your coach knows that. So your coach knows that some of the training is going to involve aerobic, which is going to focus on the cardio, to make your heart run faster and provide that energy. And those exercises can be running or bicycling, whatever the coach wants you to do, then you should be doing it. there's muscle strengthening. So there are some exercises that you do repetitively by increasing sets to make sure you build those muscles. Remember, the muscles are not going to be built if we do not eat well. So you have to keep the dietary part, that is a responsibility. And then so when it comes to do exercise, then that will work. Is somebody coming? So the third part is the bone strengthening. So remember, the diet you eat, things that has calcium, your milk, maziwa, you know, like having those food you eat, it will help you to strengthen your bones, because your coach is going to ask you to do certain things to try and strengthen those bones, like jumping jacks. So running again, it can be either aerobics or for bone strengthening. And then brisk walking. So as I said, your coach knows what you need to do to be able to build that. According to the CDC, they want a child from 6 to 17 years old to do at least exercise more than 1 hour per day. However, if somebody is just doing just to be healthy, yeah, 3 times a week is great. However, you guys are doing to be competitively athlete, you're gonna do more than that. Maybe more than 60 hours in a day, maybe more than 3 times a week. So all those things, it depends on what your coach wants. Because remember, advantage of risking, the advantage of exercise is is reducing injuries. So if you're eating well and then you're doing exercise safely with your coaches, then it's gonna help you not to break your bones or to get those muscle cramps. And then it's gonna reduce the risk of you getting sick later on in life. So having like those hypertension or blood pressure or magonjwa ya pumu or obesity, kuwa mnene kuliko, kuwa na uzito mkubwa kuliko unavyotakiwa kwa umri wako, kuwa na magonjwa ya moyo. So all those things will help. If you do exercise, you're gonna minimize those chances and you'll be okay. And then part that which I was gonna ask that question you guys are asking for Mujuni is the ambition. So this is the dedication part. Mujuni did not get to be the best, one of the best athletes in their school or in their city because of just starting the exercise that day of the game. He had to train, and he has to start a long time ago to be able to get there. And you have to be mentally prepared. Remember I said you have to be serious enough to show up to the practice, serious enough to work, to engage to the practice, and serious enough to make sure you prepare, like you eat food, you are resting. And I think one of the gentlemen here was 16. He said resting either before or after. That's fine. Anything that will help to preserve your energy before you go and compete. So those are the things that you need to include. So June, can you tell us, I mean, like how long have you been doing this exercise, training and competition, and what did it do to you?
I've been playing since I was like 3. I mean, well, I don't consider playing at 3 years old because I was barely walking. So I mean, I've been with the sport since I was 3. But I've probably since I started the leagues when I was 6, and I've been playing up with older kids ever since. But most of it started in my backyard with my dad. He would just kick the ball around with me. And he always told me that the most important thing to start off with soccer is you have to play with the ball, and the ball has to be like an attachment of your body. So it was a lot of drills that involved just touching the ball, and every day I would play every day. I wouldn't play that long, maybe because, you know, with school, I was with soccer, so I have to balance that. But when it came to practices were 3 times a week, and they lasted about an hour and a half. So, you know, the coach would give us the training regimen to do for the day. But after practice, I would just do my own thing. I would just keep playing with the ball. And eventually, as you get older and you keep doing that, it makes it easier. And that allows you to do more things. So you see, like on TV with all the players, they have all the skills. They do all the fancy stuff. But it started with them just getting used to playing with the ball on their feet. And if you can't start with that, then you won't be able to do like the rainbow. You won't be able to do the Maradonas. You won't be able to do all the tricks you see on TV. So that's how long I've been training and how I've done it.
Okay, thank you. So the goal is just to share what Mujuni was talking about is it takes a hard work. it doesn't happen overnight. So if you are new, like a 10-year-old, 11-year-old, going to the joining the team right now, you are not going to be playing the same way as 16 or 17-year-old that are doing it. So patience and dedication. You keep practicing, look at the game and practice. When the coaches are preparing you for either certain positions, maybe you're going to be a goalie, maybe you're going to be what, then you do those things the best you can at that level. And then you're going to build up those strengths, you're going to build up those skills. And later on in life, you're going to be the best of the best. And it doesn't happen overnight. So practice and practice and practice. You have to go to practice every single time they tell you to go. And then so catching up, not to go, if you don't feel like going today, that's not going to work. But you still have to go to practice. And if you you let the that you can't do because of that you have sickness or there's other issues. But those are things that you always have to remember, that include when you're doing you're trying to maintain the strength or the influence that you learn from the practice. But as a player, you have responsibility to keep up with the team. And then so I think the last slide, and then we go back to June, and you guys want to ask a lot of questions to June, that's fine. So family engagement. So it is, you are part of the family on your house, and you're part of the family as a team, and then so you're part of the family as a society. So you need, this was one of the studies was done for all the family members who have their kids who are very active in playing sports. So 80% of the parents, I mean, they're literally involved in the kids' practice. And so 80% of the parents, they believe that the children need to have some activities, need to be physically fit, but also it is going to require the commitment of their family members. So that means, for example, at home, when they're little, start working with them, like what Mujuni was saying, playing with his dad, practicing a little bit at a time. I mean, like even if you're at home, just play with the ball, just to make sure you can run through it and do those little tricks you see on the TV, you see on the YouTube, or you see maybe an older child who's been playing, doing practice. Yeah, so go and practice those things. Without practicing, it's not going to be better. I mean, you never become the best if you don't practice. So having that communication with your family to support you doing the sports is also a dedication enough for the family. And of course, paying fees. So for you guys, players, you have to respect your parents that they're paying those fees for you to be on those sports. So give them some respect, and then when they're guiding you to do some practice or eat well or rest, or you can't go to play with your friends right now, you still have to rest because you're going to go to the competition. You have to also follow those rules. I mean, you already dedicate yourself to want to be a soccer player, then you have to follow those guidelines that the team or the coaches are telling you to be able to be physically active. So, I mean, that is part I was encouraging you to do. And then so I am going to invite a lot of questions now, so we can have June and the coaches, if you guys have anything to discuss or anything that you want your players to know, that would be the best time. You can ask hayo maswali Kiswahili, that's okay. We can tukarekodi kama kawaida, tukajibu maswali kama mnayo, na kama Mjuni na kitu cha kuongezea hapo, I can translate kwamba kila mtu anaelewa. Kwa hiyo naomba ni kama kuna coach yote ambaye anaweza kaongea hapa sasa hivi. That would be great.
Kabisa.
Asante.
Yeah.
Nani unaamua wewe?
Hapo.
Yeah, hapo tunakusikia vizuri.
Yeah, tunakusikia.
Hapo unanisikia vizuri sasa?
Yes.
Yeah, mimi nachosema kwamba somo ni nzuri sana. The young guys wameweza kuelewa jinsi gani ya kuprotect themselves na people around them, how to eat before a training and after training, how to get a match, jinsi ya kupumzika. Ni nzuri sana na ni somo zuri sana, na ninafurahi sana mimi wanavyochangia wao kama wao, na sisi pia inatusaidia kujua maoni yao ya vipi na nini zaidi tuzidi kufanya. Hii ni nzuri sana.
Okay,
na niko naendelea kuwasikiliza na napenda zaidi nione wao wanavyochangia ili tuweze kujifunza zaidi nini tufanye kwao. Lakini cha msingi sana ni kuzingatia tahadhari zote za afya zinazoelekezwa. Hata kama wanapokuja mazoezini, ni lazima wahakikishe they have their own sanitizer.
Well, yes.
Okay, don't share their training kit with others. Ni vitu vya msingi, ni vitu vizuri sana ambavyo wanatakiwa vizingatie sana, sababu usalama kwanza. Hiki ndio kitu cha kwanza ambacho tunatakiwa tukizingatie na tunakipambania sana. Hatupendi madhara yaje yatokee, kwa sababu kuna uwezo wa kuyalinda, kuyakinga, basi tuanze kuyafanya mapema kabisa. Naendelea kusikiliza na vijana endelea kuongea nini zaidi tufanye ili na sisi tuweze kujifunza zaidi.
Okay, asante. Okay, asante. Nashukuru sana kwa kusudi. Hiyo umeongea cha maana kabisa kwamba you guys, you heard what your coach said. When you get there, it is your responsibility, which I agree. It's your responsibility to be to prepare, to be safe when you get there. So
tunataka kukaa muda gani baada ya kula lunch kwa ajili ya mazoezi yani ya jioni?
Yeah, so lunch, that's exactly the same thing. Anytime we count for meals, like, so you have to eat at least dakika 30 au dakika 45 kabla. Na ndio maana nasema kwamba inabidi ujue mwili wako na chakula unachokila. Kwa mfano kama ukila ugali na maharage, baada ya saa moja itakuwa tayari tumboni vimeisha. Baada sasa kwa hiyo itakuwa ndo na nguvu sasa wakati huo. Ukila pizza mfano, kwa sababu ile cheese inachukua muda sana kuwa absorb. So it will take longer. So probably at least 2 hours or 3 hours before the practice ndo unaweza ukaja maybe kama umekula pizza. Kwa sababu otherwise itakuja kukaa tumboni na utapata vichomi. Kitu ambacho kinakuwa digested haraka sana au absorbed haraka sana ni kama kitu ambacho kiko to plain carbohydrates, simple carbohydrates. Ndio kama ugali huo. Ugali ni very simple. Unakupa tu nguvu haraka within half an hour to 30 minutes tayari, sorry, half an hour to an hour inaanza kukupa tayari energy. You can start doing exercise. Ndio maana nasema kwamba you can eat half an hour if you know you're going to compete. Because ndio kama hivyo kama spaghetti. Those are simple carbohydrates. You know, kwa sababu mwili wako una digest a little bit fast. Kucompare na kwa mfano kila nyama hivi au nini, hapo inabidi uongeze muda kidogo. Maybe an hour before before the competition or practice. Na kwa sababu nataka kujipa muda ili viweze kuwa absorbed na digested, yani kama viganyike vianze kukupa nguvu kwenye hizo muscles ambazo unataka kuzitumia. Kwa sababu kila kitu kienda kukaa tumboni, muscles bado hazina energy, utaanza kusikia kumechoka na bado utapata cramps. Kwa hiyo usually ndio maana una recommend an hour to half an hour kabla ya zoezi au practice is good. Na kama unajijua mwili wako kwamba kwa sababu maybe huabsorb au digest chakula hakiishi tumboni.
You can say
any other question?
Yes, I don't know, bad manner.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome.
We don't have any question.
Okay, so then I have my questions for you guys. Okay, so I want to one at a time. So I'm going to select people who are raising their hand on their computer or on their phone. Don't answer because I want to make sure I hear your responses.
There. Okay, I wish.
So I am going to ask you the questions. Raise your hand. I'm going to unmute you, and then I can hear your answer because I don't want to hear too many answers, which I don't understand what you guys are saying. So we discussed about the food, what you need to eat to be able to be healthy, things that you need to do like health-wise. So you need to take care of your body so the body can do wonderful things, like amazing things. Because remember, if you feed your body very well or you take care of your body very well, it's going to be able to take care of you when you're competing. So then you can look at one of the best. You can run and you can do all those tricks. You can do everything you can when you are competing. So we already discussed that part. We already discussed about being healthy during this corona virus. like taking responsibility of yourself. So nobody's gonna wash your hands for you. You need to wash your hands. Nobody's gonna carry the sanitizer for you. You need to carry the sanitizer for yourself. Nobody's gonna create that social distance. You need to do that. So you have the responsibility of your own health, your own exercise, and your own growth. So you eat well, then you're gonna grow and be the strongest person, flexible person, and then with that speed that the coach is gonna train you, then that is even better. So you always have to listen to the coach, always listen to the parents, and listen to your teammates to be able to work as a team, because these sports are team sports, not individual sports. If you think you are the best of the best, you do need the other people to pass the ball to you. You can't win by yourself. So you have to learn to be part of the team. So even the person who is passing the ball to you and you score the goal, that goal you did not score by yourself. If you did not get the ball, you did not score by yourself. So you always have to remember, work as a team, because so then you know who is gonna pass the ball when, or who's gonna kick the ball when, or if it's the goalie, which side they're gonna be scoring. So you need to know those things and play as a team, because it's the sports that require every single person in the team. And then so when you ask, do certain things for the team, then you have to do the certain things for the team. So that was but just a little review. Now my question, the first question is, so you need to tell me what you have not been doing before. So after we discuss this part, you're gonna be doing afterwards. So what did you learn, in short? What did you learn that is gonna be, has been helpful for you to come and start doing it tomorrow, starting tomorrow? So I'm gonna wait for people who are raising their hands, and I'm gonna select them that. I see Ian. Did you raise your hand, Ian? Oh, Lynette? Lynette, go ahead.
The thing which I will do is I think I'll do changes with the diet thing which you were talking about.
Okay.
Like eating more proteins in the morning.
Okay. That's good.
Eating more nuts, and yeah.
Okay, that's very good. And then so for the morning part, yes, you might not maybe have a lot of nuts to eat in the morning, but also if you drink like uji, you know, porridge, put the peanut butter in there. That way you make it a little bit thicker, almost like a, looks like almost like oatmeal, or I don't know, I'm gonna age myself. Bulgur, when we grow up, we used to eat the oatmeal and we put the milk in there, we put the peanuts in there to make it thicker and healthier and very filling. So if you eat that, you don't need a snack during the day, because it makes your body full and you have more energy. And we used to play so much, and you guys have organized sports. We used just to play until you becomes, I mean, there's sand to your hair everywhere else, because we had that much energy. Okay, so anybody else? Anybody else? What are you gonna do different?
I would say that to do more exercise.
Okay, what type of exercise, Nasi?
Like sit-ups or the others.
Yes, sit-up is good. Yeah, so you can do some exercise at home. And then, so I'm gonna ask him, other than playing with the ball, any other exercise that as an individual, you're trying to improve certain part of your body? What are some exercises, June, if you have an example, that you did at home without the coaches?
Well, probably the most important thing for playing sports, especially soccer, is you want to be able to have stamina. You don't want to be tired, so you want to run a lot. Whenever you have a chance, or even just being outside, walking around, being active, it increases your stamina, so you'll be able to perform tasks like on the regular. Another thing I like to do, or I used to do at least when I was younger, is short sprints, because you want to be used to the idea that when you play, there's never a constant speed you play. Sometimes you'll be jogging around the field. Sometimes you'll do a quick sprint. Sometimes you'll sprint for a very long duration from one end to another. So you want to be prepared to do that at any time. And with the ball specifically, you don't even need to. I mean, it's fun to, especially now with the whole social distancing and not being able to be next to your friends. Passing the ball around is perfect. You guys can pass from a short distance to a long distance, or you can do something as simple as kicking the ball against the wall or against anything that's a hard object. That way you can improve your touch, because first touch is very important. You want to be able to control the ball and move quickly, because as you go older, you'll realize that you can't just take your time on the ball, because once you're my age or once you're 16, defenders, they'll start to hassle you a lot, so they'll start to come against you. You see it all the time in professional sports, how quickly the ball moves. It's because it started with the first touch. And shooting drills, you don't even need a goal. You can just, if you want to hang some sort of target against a hard surface, you aim at that. It translates right to when you go to the field. So there's a lot of, other than what the coaches give you, there's a lot of small things you can do on your own time with any object, really. But the most important thing, obviously, is touches on the ball. And once you start with that, and once you get good at that, everything else becomes really easy. And that's how you get to where you want to be, however long you train.
Okay. Thank you very much. I see Ian raised a question from Mujuni, for me or for your coaches. Questions. I need questions. So you guys are ready to go and practice when you're allowed to? Have you been doing exercise at home? Like doing some practice at home by yourself? Have you been doing that?
Yes.
What kind of exercise have you been doing? I want to know. What kind of exercise have you been doing? So we can learn also. Maybe we can start practicing that, like your exercise.
No more warm-ups.
So how do you warm up? I don't play soccer, so I have no idea how do you warm up. How do you warm up?
I normally warm up with starting jog around.
Okay.
Because I normally work on my stamina in football.
Okay, that's good. So how long?
I find stamina my way of football.
Okay, so how long does it, do you jog? Like how many minutes?
Jog?
Yeah.
It will be under 20 minutes because I'm not really a fan of jogging.
Sometimes we have to do things that we don't like, but our body needs it. So yeah, you might not like.
I know, so.
Yeah, so you might not like to jog, but jogging is good. I mean, like what Mujuni was saying, that short sprints or running around, you have to build that endurance, because otherwise you're gonna run the first 5 minutes of the game, and then the rest you'll be like, your hands are on your knees, you'll be like panting because you can't run anymore. You have to build that endurance. So in order to be physically fit during the whole time you are either in the practice or in the game. So doing a little bit at a time, that's fine. You can start 20 minutes and then do something else, another exercise, and then go back 20 minutes. The repetition of that 20 minutes will help. After a while, you're gonna start doing 30 minutes versus 20 minutes. And then before you know, you're gonna do 40 minutes. And before you're gonna do an hour and a half. So slowly, you have to build up, because nobody is born a sprinter like cheetah or those animals. So you have to develop that part. And as I said, we don't like to do those exercises, but we have to do because we want to be effective. I was trying to read the question here. So I am gonna let the president of Magnet come and say something for you guys. Mr. Tuntu, are you there?
Yeah, sure. Hi, everyone.
Hi.
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 Hi, Coach Tuntu. How are you?
Hi.
Good, thanks, how are you guys doing?
Hi, Coach Tonto.
We're good.
Fine.
Good.
Hello.
Yeah, go ahead. We can hear you.
Hello, we can hear you.
We can hear you.
I'm trying to get something. Okay.
Jesus.
Okay, sure. One is to appreciate from the facilitator, Dr. Harriet Gabone Marupindi. Thank you so much for your time. We appreciate, for your readiness to be able to communicate and share your knowledge to our kids. And secondly, to co-facilitators. Sorry, I was not so much here. So I have to appreciate sharing some experience of playing soccer and trying to be, one of the professional players. But third and very important thing is to appreciate kids who are, had provided time and being able actually to attend this session. I know it has been a bit long session of 2 hours, but I've seen everyone was so happy and very much engaged. And some had questions managed to ask and some didn't. But if you still have any question, you can still send to in our groups, our Magnet groups, ask your dad or your mom to do that. And then we can send it to Dr. Harriet. So I appreciate and thank you so much. I believe the knowledge that we've gotten today will be very helpful as we're looking forward to resume most of the activities, going back to school probably when the government announce, or bouncing back to football. But again, as you wait for that time, you need to practice whatever that you have learned at home so that you remain to be safe, because we need you guys. We need to meet again and start our training. So yeah, I appreciate and wish you the best. Thank you.
Thank you, Coach Tuntu. And my special thanks to my nephew, Mujuni Mutabiilwa. And thank you for sharing your experience. I mean, I would have never done better because you speak their own language, and all the sports people, you guys know each other. All those who are talking about examples of the speed and, those technical stuff. I'm sure the coaches, they understood that, but for me, usually I just decided to thank you for sharing that. And most of all, guys, hold on a second. Most of you, I just thank you guys, kids who came in and asked a lot of questions. Those are very, very good questions. Keep being curious like that, because the more you do that, the more you're gonna learn and then make your body healthy, better, and become the best athlete you can be. You chose to do this football, or we call soccer, for a reason. So that is a good thing for you. And then just go and listen to your coaches, go and listen to your parents, go and listen to the organization. You have the amazing organization that grow you in there, mind, health, and body to be able to function at your best. So keep up the good work, and thank you. It was my pleasure spending the time with you guys, and I hope to see you someday. So thank you very much, and everybody just wave. So we're gonna take a picture. Everybody wave like that. Bye.
You haven't answered my question.
What is your question?
Bye.
Okay, Coach Tuntu said you're gonna send a question to him, and then he's gonna let me know. If it's soccer related, I'm gonna get my nephew to answer those questions. If it's okay, I'm happy to do it, and then we can do that. So I know you guys spend a lot of time with me, and I don't want to take more time of yours. So thank you very much.
Yeah, we have time.
Bye. Bye.
Right now.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, Miss.
Bye. Bye. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.